Hi dear students, welcome to Department of Chemistry, KTHM College, Nasik. So student, in our previous lecture, we started our discussion about the effect of air pollution. We studied the effect of air pollution on the biomass. Right now today, we are going to continue our topic. Now today we will discuss the formation of a smog due to the air pollution. Formation of a smog due to air pollution. Formation of a smog due to air pollution. Now the question arises, what is mean by the smog? Very simply, smog is the combination of smoke and fog. Smog is the combination of smoke and fog. In fact, the formation of a smog is characterized by temperature inversion. It is characterized by temperature inversion. Because we know that in a normal case, the temperature decreases with increase in altitude in the lower sphere, that is the troposphere. However, under certain circumstances, the case is reverse, and therefore the pollutants gets trapped into the inversion layer. Obviously, as the pollutant gets trapped in a very short altitude due to certain circumstances, the large concentration of the pollutant will be present in a very small volume. And you know that once the concentration of a pollutant increases in a very short volume, we call it as a inversion layer. The reaction can also reverse. And this reversal of the reaction is responsible for the formation of a smog. We have already discussed when we were discussing about the troposphere. In a normal case, the temperature decreases in a troposphere. But again, due to certain instances, the inversion is also there. Sometimes temperature may rises rather than the decrease, and therefore a small layer will be formed there. I will call it as an inversion layer because the temperature reverse, temperature inversion is there. And in this region, in this short altitude, in this inversion layer, the pollutant gets trapped, concentration increases, and obviously the reaction also reverse. And this reversal of the reaction responsible for the formation of a smog. Now, basically, there are two types of a smog. One is nothing but the reducing smog, and second is nothing but the oxidizing smog. First of all, we will talk about the reducing smog, and then we will discuss the oxidizing smog. So, first we will start with the reducing smog. Reducing smog. This smog is the first time studied or observed in London. First observed in London. It involves three major pollutants. It involves three major pollutants. The first one is SOx, sulfur oxides. Second is particulate matter. And third is nothing but the water droplet. Third is nothing but the water droplet from fog. Water droplet from the smog. So obviously, in this case, the reactions will be in between sulfur oxides, particulate matter, and water droplet. We can show the interactions of sulfur oxides, particulate matters, and water droplet diagrammatically. Suppose this is your SOXs, sulfur oxides. These are nothing but the particulate matter, you can say. This is your particulate matter. The particulate matter consists of carbon, iron oxide, such as a carbon, Fe3O4. It also have silicon oxides, aluminum oxides, etc. We will write a few representative example over here. Al2O3, etc., etc. And suppose our third component is water droplets from the fog. So what happened? SOX, particularly sulfur dioxide, in presence of particulate matter and in presence of sunlight, UV light, gets oxidized into the sulfur trioxide. So what happened when the SOX is reacted with the particulate matter, particularly sulfur dioxide, is oxidized into the sulfur trioxide. So which will be the important reaction over here? When the SOX interacts with the particulate matter, there is a conversion of sulfur dioxide into the sulfur trioxide. It is a simple oxidation reaction. Half of O2 molecule will be interact. And this reaction takes place in presence of HNO and particulate matter. In fact, this is simply oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide in presence of UV light and particulate matter. So this reaction takes place between sulfur dioxide and particulate matter. So what happens when the particulate matter and water interact with each other? So we have to deal with the interaction of particulate matter and water. So actually the particulate matter from the smoke and the water droplet from the aerosol gets trapped into the pulmonary arteries. They get trapped into the pulmonary arteries, and it also involves in the respiratory tract. So these are nothing but the solid fine particles, and this is nothing but the water. We call it as an aerosol. So what will be the action between these two? The particulate matter. The particulate matter and water from aerosol gets trapped into the pulmonary arteries of respiratory system. So this is the adverse effect. Now the third case is the interaction of SOX with the water. When the SOXs interact with the water, the very simple reaction is there. Sulfur dioxide, when treated with water, iron or manganese catalyst, if present from the particulate matter, iron second, or manganese second, that gets converted into the H2SO3. H2SO3. We call it as a sulfurous acid. So the sulfur dioxide reacts with water in presence of metal catalyst to give a sulfurous acid. And this sulfurous acid, upon further oxidation with half of O2, gives a corresponding H2SO4. It gives corresponding H2SO4. So student, it was the corresponding reaction in an reducing smog. So question arises, what is the effect of reducing smog? The most important impact of the reducing of smog is the throat irritation and lungs irritation. It causes the throat and lung irritation. So what is the effect? What is the effect? The major effect is throat and lung irritation. Throat and lung irritation. This is an major. Now there is a classical method for the control of reducing smog. The primary effect is a throat and lung irritation, and these are the corresponding reaction when these three important pollutants interact with each other in an temperature inversion layer. So you can note all these things so that we will proceed to second type of smog, that is the oxidizing smog. Now the second type of smog is the oxidizing smog. Oxidizing smog. This smog is first observed or occurred in Los Angeles. First occur in Los Angeles. This type of smog formation takes place when the automobile exhaust is trapped in the inversion layer. It produces when automobile exhaust is trapped in inversion layer. More particularly, it is observed in summer in presence of sunlight when the automobile exhaust is trapped in inversion layer. During day season, the oxidizing smog formation takes place. So you may have a distinguishing point over here between the oxidizing smog and reducing smog. The oxidizing smog is produced in a summer in presence of sunlight during a daytime, because this is a photochemical reaction, and therefore the oxidizing smog is also known as photochemical smog. It is also known as photochemical smog. The analysis of oxidizing smog shows that it consists of ozone. It also consists of free radicals. nitrogen monoxides, nitrogen dioxides, pan, etc., etc. If you think about the reactions which takes place during the formation of oxidizing smog, it involves the reaction involved are the first one is the conversion of a nitrogen monoxide to nitrogen dioxide, that is the oxidation of a nitrogen oxides. NO is converted to NO2. Second thing, as I stated here, it also contains the ozone. So the second reaction is the formation of ozone. Then oxidation of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbon oxidizes to give a corresponding oxidized form. For example, aldehyde, peroxy radicals, peroxyacetyl nitrate, etc., etc. And next one is the formation of free radicals, etc. These are just a few representative reactions, major reaction which involve during the formation of oxidizing smog. Suppose if you think about the first reaction, conversion of NO to NO2, it's a very simple reaction. The first one, conversion of NO2, NO2, it is an oxidation reaction. The reaction will be in this way: 2 moles of NO plus O2, it gives 2 moles of NO2. Secondly, we can think about the formation of ozone also. Formation of ozone. Formation of ozone is also one of the photochemical reaction. In fact, the photolysis of NO2 in the presence of HNO, it gives a NO plus oxygen. And this free oxygen, we call it as a nascent oxygen, then combined with O2 molecule in presence of a third body. So the atmospheric oxygen will react with this nascent oxygen in presence of third body. It gives O3 plus M. Now here M is nothing but the third body. Third body. This third body is nothing but the energetic particles. It will take us energy. The various types of third bodies are involved over here, and this reaction is nothing but the third body reaction. This is your third body reaction towards the formation of ozone. So we will continue the further reaction. First of all, you just note all this data by screenshot. Our next reaction is the formation of aldehyde. Formation of aldehyde. Third one, formation of aldehyde. We will go through the cyclic reactions because it is nothing but the free radical reaction. The reactive hydrocarbon reacts with ozone in presence of sunlight. So the reactive hydrocarbons reacts with ozone in presence of sunlight. Obviously photochemical reaction will take place and it will give a hydrocarbon free radical. I will represent it in this way, RCH2 free radical. This RCH2 free radical then combined with oxygen. So the combination with oxygen, obviously we will get the formation of peroxy free radical. It means R, this is your CH2, then O radical. We call it as a peroxy free radical. When this peroxy free radical reacts with nitric oxide, when it reacts with nitric oxide, it will lose oxygen to NO2 and gets converted into the RCH2O radical, and along with that NO2 will be formed. Now we are not interested over here with NO2, we will continue with RCH2O radical. This RCH2O radical then again combine with the O2 molecule from the atmosphere and it gives HO2 free radical, hydrogen peroxy free radical we call it as, along with the formation of aldehyde. So when it reacts with O2, it gives HO radical plus RC double bond OH. It was our expected product because our title was the formation of aldehyde. So we got the formation of aldehyde over here. When these peroxy radical interact with the NO again, it will give NO2 plus hydroxy radical, OH radical plus NO2, means this oxygen will combine with NO to form a NO2, and this is a hydroxy radical. This is again byproduct over here. We are interested in hydroxy. This hydroxy when reacts with again, suppose RCH3 hydrocarbons, I can say, it will give again RCH2. It will give again RCH2. In this way, a cyclic photochemical reaction takes place and we will get the formation of aldehyde over here. So it was the formation of aldehyde. Now we will think about the formation of a PAN, peroxyacyl nitrate. Formation of peroxyacyl nitrate. Formation of peroxyacyl nitrate. It was the formation of aldehyde, and this is nothing but the formation of peroxyacyl nitrate. The peroxyacyl nitrate formation is also again the free radical reaction. The precursor for this reaction means the starting material is the aldehyde, so we will start with the aldehydes. R C double bond OH, aldehydes. When aldehyde treated with hydroxy radical in the atmosphere, because we know that many more photochemical reaction in which hydroxy radical is a form, and when hydroxy interact with this one, it will give the acyl radical, means this hydrogen will goes along with OH radical and it will form H2O as a byproduct, and acyl radical or C double bond O radical plus H2O. What is this? This is your acyl radical. This is your acyl radical. Formation of acyl radical. This acyl radical when reacts with oxygen, atmospheric O2, it gives a peroxyacyl radical. It gives a peroxyacyl radical, means R C double bond O, oxygen, oxygen. We will call it as peroxyacyl radical. Peroxyacyl radical. This peroxyacyl radical, when reacts with NO2, it gives corresponding peroxyacyl nitrate. So the NO2 will interact over here and we will get R C double bond O NO2. We call it as a peroxyacyl nitrate. Peroxyacyl nitrate, PAN, we called it as. So these are the two important reactions which takes place in the formation of oxidizing smog. So you just note all these things. We will continue with the next reaction. Now the formation of a peroxybenzoyl nitrate. Peroxybenzoyl nitrate. The peroxybenzoyl nitrate is formed from the aromatic hydrocarbon. Aromatic hydrocarbon interacts with ozone in presence of HNO and it gives corresponding benzoyl free radicals. So the aromatic hydrocarbon reacts with ozone in presence of HNO. It gives AR stands for aromatic, C double bond O radical, along with that some aldehydes and some ketones. We can distinguish R1, R2, R3 in this way. These are the byproducts of this reaction, you can say. When these benzoyl free radical interact with atmospheric nitric oxide NO, the oxygen will be shifted with NO2 and we will get the formation of AR C double bond O radical plus NO2. We call it as a benzoyl radical. Aromatic group is there, so we should call it as a benzoyl radical. Benzoyl radical. This benzoyl radical, when react with the oxygen O2, we will get again AR C double bond O radical. We call it as a peroxybenzoyl radical. Peroxybenzoyl radical. The peroxybenzoyl radical then reacts with NO2. We will get AR C double bond O NO2. Peroxybenzoyl nitrate. Peroxybenzoyl nitrate, that is PBZN, peroxybenzoyl nitrate. So as we discuss about the reducing the smog, the effect was the throat and lung irritation. The oxidizing smog is characterized by eye irritations. What is the effect of oxidizing smog? Effect is eye irritation and skin irritation. These are the major impact. So student, you just note these reactions so that we will go towards the distinguishing features between reducing smog and oxidizing smog. So in the first column we will write the reducing smog. And in a second column we will write the oxidizing smog. Reducing smog and oxidizing smog. So the first thing is related to the occurrence. The reducing smog is the first noted in London. So the first distinguishing point, it is first noted in London, and the oxidizing smog is the first noted in Los Angeles. First thing is related to their occurrence. Second thing, what are the primary pollutants? The soot particle, dust particle, means the particulate matter are the primary pollutants in reducing smog. And in this case, hydrocarbon and nitrogen oxides are the primary pollutants. So which was the primary pollutants? The sooty particle, SO2, are the primary pollutants. And in case of oxidizing smog, hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides are the primary pollutants. Got it? So what are the sources? Particularly obvious, we will think about the primary pollutants. Soot particle and SO2 comes from the industrial sources. And here the hydrocarbon and NOx comes from the automobile exhaust. So what are the sources? The industrial and other sulfur containing fuels are the sources. And in case of oxidizing smog, automobile exhaust is the source. Automobile exhaust is the source. About the nature, as the name indicates, reducing in nature. And in this case, oxidizing in nature. It is generally produced in a winter season, and it is produced in summer during sunny days because it is a photochemical. So occur mostly in winter, and in this case occur mostly in summer. So what are the effects? Irritation of lungs and throat. Irritation of lungs and throat is the primary effect. On human, and in this case eye irritation is the primary effect. So these are the major distinguishing features between reducing smog and oxidizing smog. You can note it by screenshot. So student, it was an account about the formation of a smog. In this lecture we will stop here. We will continue the effect of air pollution in our next lecture. So thank you very much.